ISIS, or intermediate system to intermediate system. In this video, I am going to talk about the history of ISIS, the fundamental of the ISIS. In the future videos, we will talk about the configuration, verification, and also troubleshooting of ISIS. Let me to start with the fundamentals of the ISIS. You know that today we are using TCP/IP for communication between our hosts. This means that we are using the TCP/IP rules, TCP/IP application for sending traffic from one system, one host to another host, okay? And as you remember from your previous courses, TCP/IP has 4 layers. The layer 1 is the link layer, layer 2 is the internet layer, layer 3 is the transport layer, and layer 4 is the application layer. This is the original version, original form of TCP/IP. And you know that we have another name, another model in the networking. The name of this another important model is OSI. OSI is the abbreviation of Open System Interconnection, okay? And this is the reference model for all models. In OSI, we have 7 layers. Physical layer is the layer 1, data link layer is the layer 2, network is the layer 3, transport is layer 4, session is layer 5, presentation is layer 6, and application is layer 7 of the OSI model. And you know that all of the models, all of the practical models in the network should be comparable, should be compatible with the OSI model as a reference model, because we have one important difference between original TCP/IP model and OSI model, and that difference is the incompatibility between the layer numbers. Look at here in TCP/IP original, internet layer that is working such as the network layer of the OSI is the layer 2, but in the OSI it is the network layer is layer 3. Here we have one difference. The difference is that when you are talking about the TCP/IP, you should say layer 2 for example, networking for the function of this layer, addressing or routing. And in OSI model, you should say layer 3. Because of this difference, TCP/IP updated to a 5 layers model. Okay, look at here. In TCP/IP updated or new TCP/IP, we have the link layer of the TCP/IP original in the 2 layer, for example, physical and then data link, such as the OSI. As you can see, link layer converted to 2 layers, physical and data link, and after that the name of the internet now is changed to the network layer, such as the OSI. Also we have transport layer and then application. As you can see in the updated TCP/IP, we have now 5 layers. Beside the change in the layers number, for example, we have another change, and that change is the change of the name of the layers of TCP/IP according to OSI model. Look at here, physical. Now we have physical in TCP/IP and also data link instead of link of the original TCP/IP. And as you can see, the name exactly are same with the name of the OSI model. Also, as you can see, the name of the internet layer change and now is changed to the network. This is the same as the layer 3 of the OSI. Also transport and also application have the same names, for example, with the OSI model. Now we have a TCP/IP updated model with 5 layers: physical, data link, network, transport, and then application. Here now we have compatibility in the layer number between TCP/IP and OSI model. For example, when you are talking about the addressing in TCP/IP, you should say that I am talking about the layer 3 function of the TCP/IP, because addressing is the one of the functions of the network layer of TCP/IP. And also you should say I am talking about the layer 3 function of the OSI model, because the addressing is one of the function of the network layer in the OSI model. In this course, we are using this model, TCP/IP updated model. Because of that, when I am saying that, for example, I'm talking about the network layer, I am talking about the layer 3 layer, I mean that I'm talking about this layer. Okay, that's it. This is the first thing that we should know in this course, and maybe in all of the learning processes in your, for example, way, you should now using the TCP/IP updated model. This is the first thing. The next, that TCP/IP is a practical model. Okay, you know that TCP/IP today is a practical model of communication in our networks, but OSI model is the reference model. What is the reference model? A reference model only is a, for example, guideline for all of the other practical TCP/IP models. This means that today's we don't have any application of the OSI model. We don't have any presentation program of the OSI model. We don't use the session applications of the OSI model. Maybe it's interesting that to say that all of the protocols that you see in today networks are the applications of the TCP/IP model. For example, if you see FTP, if you are using the HTTP, if you use Telnet, okay, all of these applications are applications of the TCP/IP, okay, because we don't use OSI model in today networks. In today networks, OSI model only is a reference model. But this is a story of today network. In the old days, we used OSI model as a practical model, not as only a reference model. Look at this picture. This picture can show us of the applications or protocols of the OSI or Open System Interconnection model. You know that in the old days, OSI or Open System Interconnection wasn't only a reference model. It was a practical model. Practical model means in the networks of a world, the OSI was worked. This means that we use OSI in our networks, not TCP/IP. Okay, look at here. In OSI, we have 7 layers: physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. As you can see here, we have many protocols. All of these protocols name is surprising. As you can see, let me for example, talk about the application layer of the OSI and protocols in the application layer of OSI. The name of one of them is FTAM or ISO 8571. Yes, it is surprising. Also, the name of the, for example, transport layer protocols is X.224 or ISO 8073. Okay, I'm sure that you are not like these names. And also, for example, network ISO 9542 or ISO 8473. Let me compare these names with the, for example, in network layer IP in TCP/IP, or for example in the transport layer TCP or UDP in compared with ISO 8073. Okay, as you can see, in the old days of the networks, OSI was not only a reference model, OSI was a practical model. Okay, in that days that OSI worked as a practical model, we have different terminology in compare with the terminology that we can see today's in our networks. I will talk about this different terminology, but let me talk about one of them only. For example, in today's, we say that we have routers. Okay, routers means a device that can route packets from one network to the other networks. But in the old days, we used the term of IS in the OSI model. IS means intermediate system. Intermediate system is the name that we used instead of router.